Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Mets Daily on the Fan Arch Network. John Saponaro here with you today and every day to talk about our New York Mets. But of course, before we get started, a quick shout out goes to our friends over at Kalshi for sponsoring the video for a limited time. Use the code FANARCHBASEBALL on the Kalshi app to get $10 when you trade 10. Well, the New York Mets complete the sweep. They have won 3 games in a row. They have beat the Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland on the road, and they close out the series sweep in convincing fashion with a big-time offensive explosion, 13 runs on 18 hits. They win the game going away in a laugher, 13-6. Eventually, Cleveland has to bring in one of their position players to pitch, and Austin Hedges, I believe it was, the catcher, he actually was their best pitcher of the night, and he looked really impressive in his inning plus of work, retiring the Mets at the end of the game. But really, the story is, of course, about the offense and the individual performances therein. First of all, Francisco Lindor, who had been having just an awful series. He looked so out of sorts at the plate. He looked so out of sync. His rhythm was off. He struck out 4 times in the previous game. He breaks out in a big way. 2 for 6 with a home run, 3 RBI. And that home run was massive because at the time, the Mets had the slimmest of 1-run leads. They had put up a bunch of runs early. Nolan McLean, who we'll talk about in a second, gave some of those runs back. And then Lindor with the 3-run home run made that game 9-6. And then again, eventually, 9-5 at the time. And then the Mets able to go away in a laugher. So shout out Francisco Lindor to do what he did. Also should mention Marcus Semien, 3 for 4. He adds a home run. It was a triple shy of the cycle. And Luis Torrens, an unlikely culprit for back-to-back starts with a home run. He hits another opposite field home run. So he's just dialed in right now. And look, again, I don't want to go into the X's and O's of these games because we know where the Mets are at. We understand that, right? Like people are talking now about miracle runs and, can they do what the Red Sox did? And can the Mets do what the Cleveland team did back when Lindor and Jay Bruce were on the team and they went on this crazy run, 30-10 or whatever? Probably not, no, but this is why I think it's more fun to win games. I understand the draft position. I understand when you're a luxury tax team, when you're a high payroll team, and you lose draft pick spots and you lose draft pick capital in terms of, slot money and things like that as all kinds of penalties. I understand that it would be nice for a team like the Mets who has all the money and all the resources and a good roster planning to compete in 2027 after they bolster their farm system at the trade deadline. It would be nice for them to be able to maintain a top 6 pick. I agree. But I'd rather see them win. I would just rather watch baseball where my baseball team wins. Wouldn't you? Because when I look at this, I don't want to root for the Mets drafting some high school kid who may pay dividends in 2030 something, or some college kid who, maybe is a fast riser and could be here sooner than later. That's good. That's important. It is. But as a person who roots for baseball, like a Major League Baseball team, and like I said to you before, these baseball seasons are precious. They're long, but especially if you live in the Northeast, especially if you live in a place where it gets cold, like this season's going to end, it's going to be over, and there's going to be a long winter, and you're going to have to wait again, and that winter is going to be longer because of the lockout. Like, I just want to watch the Mets be consistently good, and they haven't done that this season. And even if it's in a futile effort, I would rather watch it. I would rather watch good baseball. Again, maybe part of that is selfish because I do this show and I don't want to come on here and I don't want to talk about how bad the Mets have played again and again and again and again. But I think just as a fan, this is what I'm looking for. So you know what? The Mets catch a Cleveland team at the right time that's really not that good anyway. And now they've got a 3-game set coming up with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Pirates are about as down bad as they've been all season since the Mets took 2 out of 3 from them to open the year. But this Pittsburgh team does not look good right now. Skeens has not looked good. Their pitching has gone in the tank. Their offense, which they revamped, is just so many injuries from O'Neal Cruz to O'Hearn, and Connor Griffin is out. I mean, this team just does not look good. So we'll see. We'll see if the Mets can keep the vibes going. But in the meantime, we have to talk a little bit about Nolan McLean. Now, look, for the first time in a while, Nolan McLean was not sharp. He gave up 5 runs, all earned, on really just one swing of the bat, essentially. Nathan Lowe gets Cleveland back in this game. That's what he was traded for to do. And one swing of the bat after McLean falls behind. And that's the problem, really, is that he had been falling behind. But Nathan Lowe does what Nathan Lowe was brought there to do, and puts Cleveland back in that game. But it's the walks. It's the 3 walks, and it's the falling behind guys. But what I love about this outing is not just that the offense picked him up and McLean got the W. That's important, because how many times as Mets fans have we seen the offense not pick up a starting pitcher? It happened to McLean. It's happened to DeGrom. It's happened to every good pitcher that has come through the Mets, whether through their system or somebody who's been signed as a free agent or whatever. You know, the best pitcher on the team usually gets no run support. So it was nice to see the Mets offense pick up the young kid and say, hey, you know what? You gutted out 5 for us. That's enough to qualify for the win. We are going to pick up our end of the bargain. We're going to pick up some of the slack, and we're going to help you out. So that was nice. But what I like is that this is the ups and downs of a starting pitcher or of a young pitcher for sure. But the fact that Andy Green, who has continued to do this, he challenged his pitcher and he said, look, you don't have your best stuff. You're kind of losing it here in the 5th inning, but your pitch count's not crazy. Get through the inning. Because it was not easy after Lowe hit that home run and tagged him for 3 runs. He was able to gut it out through that 5th inning, gave up some hits, and then eventually he was able to finish the inning. And that's what kept him in line for the win. And I think that that's something that's so important right now. And you could see Andy Green's player development side show there. Sometimes you have to put these guys, especially when you're not playing for the wins and losses on the season, but hey, who knows? You might just win the game anyway. You have to put these guys in a position where they learn something. You have to put these guys in a position where, okay, there's a lefty on the mound coming into the game. You're a left-handed hitter. I'm leaving you in. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. We're down 1. I'm leaving you in the game. I want to see if you can get this hit off of a lefty coming in, because you might have to at some point. And that's the offensive version of it. This is the pitcher version of it. You don't have your best stuff. Your stuff has been fading all game. You're near the end of your rope. We could pull you out 4 2/3. Fine, whatever. But you know what? We're not gonna pitch you till your arm falls off. But like I said, your pitch count is manageable. You want this win? Go get it. Right now, we still have a lead. Right now, you're still pitcher of record on the long side. You want to prove that you're a top of the rotation guy. Top of the rotation guys stay in, they gut it out, they get the job done. And that's exactly what Nolan McLean did. So credit to McLean. Didn't have his best stuff, looked shaky for the first time in a while. Again, this is the ups and downs that you deal with a young starting pitcher. But credit goes to Andy Green, too, for pushing him and allowing him to be in that spot. Baseball season is here, and now you can trade every game on Kalshi. And you know what I do? I sit down to record this show, but before I hit that record button, I hop on over to the Kalshi app, and I see what kind of fun, interesting, good value things we can talk about. And this one is simple. Again, Mets start a 3-game set with the Pittsburgh Pirates coming up in a few hours. And if you like the Mets to win this game, well, right now, the market doesn't. The market thinks that the Pittsburgh Pirates have a better chance to win, probably because Robert Stock is going to be on the mound making his second start for the Mets. And the pitching advantage sways way in the favor of the Pittsburgh Pirates. But I don't like where the Pirates have been at. Like I said before, I don't like where their pitching has been at. And Robert Stock was good for the Mets, gave up 1 earned, went 5 innings. The Mets' new bullpen that we'll talk about in a second looks good. So if you think the Mets are going to win, you can get that at 45 cents a share, which is really good value right now. $100 will get you $218. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is no house, and as the probability changes, you can trade into and out of that position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use the code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi, trade on anything. Must be 18 and over. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risks and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Let's talk a little bit about that new bullpen. And I know we've talked about it the last couple of days on the show, but it just bears repeating. I mean, now that there's a series that has been put in the rearview mirror, we have a situation where this new look bullpen with some guys who are fighting for their first opportunity and some guys who are fighting maybe for their last opportunity. And you're seeing that they are just fighting. They've got good stuff. They're coming in the game and they're doing a job. And you have to appreciate that if you're a fan of the New York Mets. The bullpen is just sharp. Again, it's 3 games in a row now with these guys who are not household names, with these guys who, got brought back to this team after the Rule 5 draft, like Nate Lavender, with guys who were out of professional baseball for 4 and 5 years, like Jeffrey Yan, with guys who are just trying to be major league pitchers. And so far, so good. Another game, Nate Lavender, 1 inning pitch, no hits. Senga, 1 inning pitch, no hits. And Xavier Curry, 2 innings pitched, gives up 1 earned run. Finally, in this series, the Mets bullpen gives up 1 earned run. But when you look at the series, the bullpen pitched 12 innings, 1 earned run. That is damn good, guys. 12 innings pitched in a series with 1 earned run by your bullpen. You will take that every single damn time, for sure. And they deserve their flowers for it. They really do. And you could argue the Guardians can't hit. I understand that. You could argue the Mets aren't playing for anything, so the pressure's not there. These guys are playing for something. And that's why I brought it up the way that I did. These guys in the bullpen are all playing for something. They're playing for their baseball jobs. Now, look, some of them are going to wind up on other teams next year. Some of them are going to get opportunities because that's how the bullpen arm works, right? It's very nebulous, and guys are good one year and bad the next, and it takes guys 5 years to find it, and then they're good for a stretch, whatever. Sure, some of these guys aren't going to be here, but some of these guys are going to be here. Nate Lavender is going to be here. So it's just a matter of whether he's on the major league team or not. Jeffrey Yan is going to be here. It's just a matter of whether or not he's on the major league team. Like, the Mets control the rights to some of these players. Kodai Senga is going to be here. The Mets are not going to be able to find a taker for Kodai Senga. And here's what Kodai Senga did in his second relief appearance in Leverage. The first one, when he closed out that game the other day, he didn't really look good, but he got the job done. This time he looked good, strikes out 2 guys, hits 100 miles an hour for the first time in his major league career. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about his fastball playing up in a meaningful way. Kodai Senga, if he can just let it fly for 1 inning at a time, he is going to sit 97, 98, 99. He's going to touch 100. He's going to throw the ghost fork, and the ghost fork is going to be madness. It's going to create chaos. And so I think this is a really worthwhile experiment. And the fact that he goes a day after, which is 1 day of rest, and he's able to do this, now we have to start to see if this is something he can do over the next 2 months. Can he pitch 2 out of 3 days, like I asked? Can he pitch 2 days in a row? We're going to start to find out. And that's what this season is about now. It's about the evaluation, but it's not just about the evaluation of young guys. It's about the evaluation of this entire bullpen, and it's about the evaluation of guys like Sean Manaea and Jorge Polanco and Kodai Senga. Are they going to be here? Yes. So what can they do for us? And this bullpen, again, I'm not getting over my skis. I'm not saying the Mets don't need to trade for anybody or sign anybody. This is their bullpen. It's great. No, of course not. That's insane. I want the Mets to go get probably Adrian Morejon, right? Like, the Mets need to add to this because they need to go get some proven commodities. But what the Mets have right now is this unique luxury to see some of the, to see some of these guys and see what they're capable of. And I think that's a really good spot to be in. Last but certainly not least, let's talk again about Carson Bench, who we talked about on yesterday's show too. But with another really good game from Carson Bench last night, we have to start to ask this question, guys. Can Carson Bench win the Rookie of the Year? Right now, the odds-on favorite, whether you're on Kalshi or anywhere, you talk to people around baseball, is J.J. Weatherholt. J.J. Weatherholt has been playing Gold Glove caliber second base for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's been absolutely spectacular. But when you look at the offensive numbers, they're now damn close. Weatherholt is 248, 351, 388 slash line on the year. He's done all of this in 423 at bats. So once again, 248, 351, 388. 16 home runs, 43 RBI, 12 stolen bases with a 739 OPS. All of that, when you factor in the defense, which has been spectacular, he's been a 4.4 WAR player, which is insane for a rookie. But Benj, his slash line, 267, 325, 403. 13 home runs, 44 RBI, 17 stolen bases with a 737 OPS and a 2.3 WAR. Not shabby. And he's done all of it in roughly the same amount of at-bats, 420 for Carson Benj. So look, do I think Benj will win the Rookie of the Year? I think right now you'd probably say no. You'd probably say no. If I had to choose in this moment, I'd say no. But what I want to do is start to have a conversation, because these numbers that I just read off, they're closer than I think a lot of us would have anticipated. Now, look, the defense, and Benj is no slouch on defense, but he's had his hiccups. And there's a learning curve playing out in the outfield. He played center, he played left, he played right. He's kind of settled into his home now, but whatever. Weatherholt has been spectacular all year long on defense. Like I said, Gold Glove is possible. Platinum Glove, probably not, but maybe. That's how good he's been. I don't think so, but we'll see. The thing is now, though, when Benj gets these offensive numbers so close, all he has to do now is just be better. So go out and win it. So do I think he will win it? If you ask me today, Friday, August 7th, I'm going to say no. But can he win it? Absolutely he can. And I talked to some people on Twitter about this. They just said, like, the WAR for Weatherholt is too high and the Gold Glove is going to be the difference. I mean, maybe it will be. I don't think those are bad points. But I do think that Benj could make this a non-conversation by just going on an absolute tear and just being a better offensive player. Because I know that these awards aren't necessarily for just offense, but we know that's what it boils down to a lot of the time. So I'd like to see him do it. That's another thing I'm rooting for. And you know what? If you want to offset this situation of the Mets getting a protected pick because they win too many games, well, you know what? Get a little bit of that prospect promotion incentive, the PPI. Have Carson Benj go out there and win Rookie of the Year. That'd help a lot. So I'd like to see him do it. I think he can. I don't know that he will, but that's something I'm going to be tracking a lot on this show over the next 2 months. And it's something I'm going to be tracking as a fan. That's going to do it for this episode of Mets Daily. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, sitting at just over 4,000 subscribers, trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the baseball season. Until next time, I'm John Saponaro. See you Monday.